September 10th, 2023. It's an absolutely gorgeous day today. Howdy everybody. It's set to hit 30 degrees today. Kind of a late Indian summer. We had fairly lousy August, fairly lousy July. There was one period when we had some really hot weather, and then it's just been nothing but rain this season, so it's quite a pleasant surprise to get some late warm weather. I'm headed down to Milton Keynes today via, the route I'm taking is via Blakesley Deanshanger, so I can try out some new country lanes on my bike. Yeah, this good weather is fantastic. This might be my last sort of big opportunity to ride in ideal weather. Not ideal when you stop, but it's ideal when you ride, especially this time of day, which is around 10 o'clock. And it seems like this late burst of sunshine has given my squash, my pumpkins, courgettes, marrows, and butternut squash, it's given them a boost, because they're starting to form now finally. So I'm hoping there's still enough time left for my last bit of garden produce to I guess come to fruition by September, end of this month. So today my kid brother's over from France with his Kenyan wife, heading down to Milton Keynes. It's a busy day. They're all going in the car, hence no room for me, hence my excuse to go on the bike. And then see my mum and stepdad, and then Jerry and his wife will be there. Here's a horsey. Slow down for a horsey. It's turning right. And just trying out a different route. I've got my rucksack on today because I took my side bags off. Still got the top bag on, but there wasn't quite enough room for all my bits and bobs. And I'm also now carrying a heavy duty chain in my top bag. And I'll come on to why in a few moments. So there's not a very nice thing to talk about, actually. I'll come on to that shortly. So what was I saying? So I've got a rucksack, and it's pushed me slightly forward on the MT-09 into slightly more. Initially I thought it's a little bit of a nuisance because it's hitting against my back bag. Oh yeah, I couldn't be bothered to put the side bags on. Didn't have time, so just put tend not to use rucksacks much on bikes these days, but anyway, it has pushed me forward. And initially I thought, oh, that's a nuisance, but it's just pushed me into just a slightly sportier posture, which is fine, and so far so good. I'm fairly comfortable. It's a very comfy bike, the MT-09. I think you can get an extra comfort seat actually. But I do think about, for long journeys like touring, maybe the idea of riding with bicycle shorts on, which would, I think, be probably cheaper than the comfort seat. I've got my one piece on today, but I've got the zip right down because it's going to be 30 degrees, it's going to be roasting hot. And travelling back towards the evening probably will still be quite hot actually when I travel back, but not, at least it's not going to be, I'm not riding during the heat of the day, although nearing arrival time to Milton Keynes, it will be getting quite hot, I imagine, way up in the 20s. It must be in the 20s already. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the disaster that happened to my buddy Al, who, if you've seen one or two of my earlier videos, you would have seen him riding in front of me. The trio, three amigos, who normally go up to Bassett's Pole. We went to Cassington again, three of us. But rather sadly, so this is while my mate was still out of work. So his bike, he was getting really down. It's taken him a while to get a job, and his bike was like his only solace. It kept his mind off things, lifted him, and he'd paid for the Kawasaki 1000 Sports Tourer. He paid for it cash, I think. He owned the bike outright anyway. So this is Coventry for you, and I guess a lot of the major cities now, or maybe anywhere. Parks his bike outside his parents' house, puts it up on the pavement in Beak Avenue, Coventry, goes inside to do some jobs for his mum and dad. His dad's got dementia. That's another topic I'll come back to. Totally oblivious, these 5 hoodlums on, I think they're on 250s, riding without helmets, so that the old Bill can't chase them. In case they fall off their bikes and smack their head, and the old Bill gets sued, which is totally crazy in my opinion. But anyway, that's why these hoodlums ride around with no helmets. What they do, they come across my mate's bike. My first thought was, mate, you didn't leave your keys on the bike, did you? Because I don't know about you, if you're a biker, I've done it before. I must be very careful never to do that again. Fortunately, he hadn't left his keys on the bike. So I was like, okay, so how did they manage to nick it then? Well, what they did brazenly, but very quickly, obviously probably not the first time that these chavs had done this, they kicked his steering shaft, smashed the steering lock, literally just walked off with the bike and rolled down the hill with it. All the while my mate was oblivious. He was doing some odd jobs for his mum and dad and didn't notice. Finishes off, comes outside his parents' house, bike's gone. His daughter lives a couple of doors down, caught the whole thing on camera. And anyway, he's not got his bike back, so I don't know, it's probably in 1,000 parts now. If these chavs are riding it, they probably will end up killing themselves with a machine that powerful. But who knows where it is, stripped down or sold abroad. Probably some criminal gang that they use these adolescents or young guys to do their criminal activities, especially if they're below a certain age. They can't really be prosecuted, and as I said, if they haven't got helmets on, they can't be chased. So that's a real bummer. But there is silver lining, and that is that my mate did get a job. Just on Thursday this week, he's been offered a job after a second interview, after quite a long time, poor guy, of searching. So I guess it's going to be an insurance job, and hopefully he'll be back on 2 wheels again so soon. It's a shame he's missed this weather, this Indian summer. He's a very keen biker, like me, even more so than me. He goes out on Boxing Day on his bike. It's like an annual ceremony. I've been out on Boxing Day before as well, but as a general rule, it's not really my cup of tea. But that's how serious a hardcore biker Al is. So I hope the insurance claim goes through smoothly. But that's why now I've got a monster chain on my top bag. And I recommend, if you're a biker, do the same. Chain your wheel. I have also got one of those disc locks. I don't know if they'd somehow, like they smashed the steering lock, if they could just snap off somehow the disc lock. They'd probably end up wrecking the front wheel and not being able to push the bike. But a big solid lock on the wheel, of course there's ways around that too. They can get angle grinders, but in this situation on Beak Road in the middle of the day, I don't think they would have used an angle grinder. If they had, I guess my mate would have had a chance to go out and whack them over the head. So yeah, it's just a real shame. It really is. Really sad. But such is life. I'm just taking extra precautions. I'm not leaving my bike anywhere in Coventry with or without a chain, unless there's someone watching it for me. And yeah, so these things happen all the time, guys. People are getting bikes nicked, and it's such a selfish thing when you think this situation that poor guy out of work at the time, you know, it's like kicking him in the ribs while he's already down. How understanding can you be of these kind of chaps? Like I said, I do think the cops should chase them regardless of whether they've got helmets or not. But I guess they're messed up from birth, these kids, aren't they? And maybe they're on hard times too, like a lot of people are. So that's that. Sending out some positive vibes to my buddy. Dementia I wanted to talk about as well. I mentioned that my mate was around his parents. His dad's got dementia. I don't think his dad's dementia is as far advanced as my stepdad's dementia. I don't want to go into too many horrible details, but basically stepdad now is kind of incontinent, can't dress himself. So I will see him on this trip. My mum said that this time round he might not remember me. Now I've known Mick since the age of 2 years old. I've known him since I was 2. I reckon he probably will remember me, but he doesn't know who my kids are. He doesn't know who my missus is anymore. Poor guy. But it's a horrible disease, and I tune in quite a lot to some YouTubers. Dr. Eric Berg. He has some excellent videos. I really recommend you subscribe to him on YouTube. He doesn't court the controversial, otherwise he would get banned by the 1984 Big Brother. So he keeps it to just natural topics on YouTube. They're always natural methods, never drug methods to cure disease. He never promotes that. So I've never seen a video where he's promoted that. And he's super popular. His videos are well done. He's got like millions of views, hits on his video, and it's great to see that kind of stuff gain traction. So he talks about dementia, but it would be more along the lines of, you know, how do you prevent it? Andrew Kaufman is another guy, and he's putting out some awesome shorts on YouTube, health related shorts. He's a psychiatrist, I think, by profession, but he's super well knowledgeable on all aspects of health, should we say natural health. And so he recently came out with a short that suggested that I was doing slightly over 40 when I passed the camera there. I need to concentrate my speed down here. He suggested that you can cure schizophrenia by having an enema, which is really fascinating. He's linking it to toxic build-up in the colon, which you can clear out by having an enema. So that sort of leads me to wonder, is there something that could reverse dementia, some kind of natural cause? Treatment, sorry. I haven't come across anything yet. I did hear some bits and bobs around how you can reverse neuron damage, but I think it's on a limited scope. Once the dementia is kind of advanced to a certain point, I'm just not sure if we yet have the kind of the herbal knowledge to reverse it. But I keep looking. It's very, very sad for my stepdad, such an able-bodied guy. Went to India for a year in the 70s when he was a young man. Had his went in a coach, had the coach engine out on the side of the road, fixed it, popped it back in the coach, and carried on. That's how super skilled the guy was, and now he can't bang a nail with a hammer. It's way, way beyond him now. So it is kind of sad, very demeaning, a horrible disease. I don't think he would have chosen to be alive if he could have looked forward. However, I will say that he seemed totally oblivious of the Alzheimer's creeping up on him. I know some guys have been aware of it happening to them. Many people are, and I think that's how Robin Williams ended up topping himself, because he was conscious that he was deteriorating. With Mick, it just kind of crept up on him slowly. First few years he could still drive, then eventually, well, he had to keep retaking his test every year. Then eventually he failed it and had his license removed, could no longer drive, sold the car, and then from there just gradually getting worse and worse. But all along, like, he's never really been that conscious of his condition, and he's super, like, Mickey was quite a lad back in the day, like on the building sites. He's had a few fights on the building sites. He's beaten guys up. He's beaten 3 guys up at once on a bus when he was like 16 or 18 or something. He knows how to wrestle and box. Like an aggressive streak, like not an aggressive man per se, but can definitely kick butt. I've seen him square up to guys myself. But now he's just super placid and gentle, which is good news for my mum, because you know, apparently some people who even previously weren't aggressive, the dementia can make them aggressive. So I don't know why it hasn't with Mick. Sort of accentuated the latent aggression that he already has. But I've got a theory that it could be something down to the cancer hormone treatment that he's on. This is the thing with those kind of Western medical treatments, which I don't ascribe to myself. I ascribe to natural health and natural healing, and I believe there's a herb out there for every condition. There's no incurable disease, mostly speaking, no incurable disease. I mean, I'm kind of contradicting myself, because it seems like at the moment dementia isn't. But anyway, they went down that route of hormone treatment for the cancer. And the hormone treatment, one of the side effects is it basically turns a bloke into a woman. Like, can make blokes grow boobs and get emotional and cry, and I just wonder if that's the factor that's, you know, made it so that Mick hasn't become aggressive with his dementia. I wonder if I should make a pit stop here and get some fuel. Actually, let's see what the price is. Suddenly my tank shot down to half. Maybe now's a sensible time to, because I noticed the bottom half of this tank shoots down quick. Stays up the top for a long time, then it shoots down quick. Wonder if it might be sensible to do that. See if we can sneak in here. Yeah, it's a little bit slightly higher, but it's not too bad. Let's get some fuel. Have to edit this bit out the vid. Pop a bit of super in there. Burns better. Ooh, gonna catch on fire. for now. Number 3, please. Tell you what though, mate, you cannot stop in this weather. It's just too hot. So on the way back, the main drawback of the MT-09 and the MT-10 is the fuel tank size. Not great. You're looking at all the pros and cons. Weighing up all the pros and cons of the MT-09, fuel tank size is not one of the big pluses. I think for that you have to get the what's it called? Tracer? Yamaha Tracer, which is basically a touring MT-09, I think. For the MT, right, this shouldn't flap now. For the MT-10, I think it's even worse. It's a shame that Yami don't sort that. Was it 14 litre tank or something? Nuts like that. Man, I have to get rolling, it's so hot. Let's get rolling. So my microphone is still in position inside my hat. Let's get this party started. Yeah, so that's about all I had to say on the Dimension topic. Now this is where my boys came off. I should try that route one time, but it's not the route yeah, you can get to Southam that way. I'll try that route next time. It's not the route I've selected this time, because I want to go by a new place I've not been before. It's quite cool with this sat nav, you can just add middle destination and end destination. Crypto updates, there's nothing happening in the crypto world, hasn't been for months. I just wanted to share kind of an experience in one of the Telegram groups I'm in, where a lady in there was just saying how disheartened she is with crypto. She'd just given up on it as a means of making profit. And she said aside from Monero, there's nothing really worth. I mean, Monero's a sure bet. That's brilliant crypto. Even if you're just a Monero maxi. But what I'd previously done some research back in January, looking at year by year since 2011, when Bitcoin was really low. I think it was $3, $4, $7, something like that. Like really low. Year on year, how much Bitcoin was worth, like the all-time high of the year that it had reached, and it's been fairly publicised that exactly 10 years ago, Bitcoin was $100, right? Exactly 10 years ago from this point, Bitcoin was $100, which is already an awesome gain from $0.0008 when it first was possible to buy it, or difficult to buy it right in the early days. So it was $100 10 years ago. If only I'd had the foresight to buy it then. And now it's still hovering around 26k, even though it's dropped a little, it's still hovering around 26k. That puts it into perspective of where we are with Bitcoin. And I said that to her, I shared that research I'd done,